Today we will discuss about a very important analytical technique, that is Raman spectroscopy. Spectroscopy provides the structural fingerprint of a molecule. It is a light scattering phenomena. Then you can say this is a secondary radiation or secondary scattering radiation, which comes out when a incident light reach on a material. Raman effect corresponds to vibrational and rotational transitions of scattering molecules. Raman effect can be understood by considering the light scattering process as collision of photon of incident light with the molecule. Here you can see the fundamental of this Raman scattering. If you will see, suppose when a light ray uh, incident on any molecule, then there may be the possibility of two types of scattering. One is elastic scattering, another is inelastic scattering. Before reaching on this scattering, when you will see that as a light ray incident on any material, there will be three types of phenomena. A part of material may absorb by that material. A part of the light ray that will transmit it through the material, and the rest of the light that will reflect from that material. If the two components are zero, like transmission as well as absorption, whatever light which is incident on that material, and if it is completely reflected from that surface or scattered from that surface, that type of scattering is called as elastic scattering. Means no exchange of energy. Whatever surface, suppose I have considered a molecule, which you can see with the red color. A light which is coming on the surface of that molecule, and the light is scattered from the surface of that molecule. So H nu 0, that was the means energy. That was the energy of that photon, and the energy which is reflected from the surface, that was also same, H nu 0. It means the light ray neither gain the energy nor lose the energy. So that kind of scattering is called as elastic scattering, and this scattering is called as the Rayleigh scattering also. And this was invented, or you can say the searched by a great physicist, Lord Rayleigh. On the name of Lord Rayleigh, it is named as Rayleigh scattering. So no exchange of energy is there. Now coming on second part, inelastic scattering. In case of inelastic scattering, suppose E, that you can say H nu 0, a photon. A photon energy, if you can see that light is moving in the form of photons, which are very small energy packets. So suppose if a photon that incident on that surface, there may be possibility of three kind of scattering. One is no change. That will be again elastic scattering, but that is not considered here because now we are talking about inelastic scattering. So exchange of energy is there. So there may be two possibilities. The scattered light may gain energy after scattering, after reaching on that surface. The second phenomena, that second situation may be that the scattered light ray may decrease its energy. How this decrease will take place? Decrease will taking place when the molecule itself gain energy, and due to achieving or attaining energy from incident light, the molecule start to vibrate. And if molecule that was already in vibrating condition, or in rotationary position, in rotating condition, then the molecule adds the energy with the incident energy. So the resultant or scattered light ray may gain higher energy. That will have higher energy than the incident light. So in that case, E dash will be higher than E if the light ray will gain the energy. In second position, second condition, which I have shown you with the green color, E dash may be less than E, or E dash will be smaller than E. It means the material has gained energy from incident light, and scattered light has reduced its energy because it has transferred a part of energy to the material. In second condition, where the scattered light has gained energy, it means material has donated a part of energy from its structure to the incident light, and it converted and it enhance the intensity of scattered light. That's why I have shown it by red color here. And if you will see, suppose energy of a light ray has increased, it means its wavelength will also increase. So because H is constant, nu zero is its frequency. So that will enhance, or you can say that kind of scattering is called as the inelastic scattering. Now, when this E will incident and E dash will go out, E is H nu zero and E dash is H nu zero plus minus Vm, means vibrational energy. And this effect was invented by Sir C.V. Raman. That's why it is called as Raman effect. That's why it is called as Raman effect. Now, what is this Raman effect? Raman effect, that is vibrational spectroscopy, that can be measured by vibrational spectroscopy, or it can be measured by Raman rotational spectroscopy. Why these two words are here, vibrational or rotational? See, E dash can be rewrite as H bracket nu zero plus minus nu m. So this plus minus nu m, that is important here. When this light ray will come on the material, incident on that material, due to the collision of light ray with that material, the material atoms start to vibrate, or the amount of energy is still too high, then the atoms may start to rotate also in their particular position. They will come, they will not come out from that space, from that position. They will not come out, but at their preferred space, either they will start to vibrate or they will start to rotate. These two conditions or these two situations will become there. That's why it is called as Raman vibrational spectroscopy or Raman rotational spectroscopy. Now, how much chances are there when this Raman effect will create? If you will see, the light ray is incident on material, generally, the Rayleigh scattering will take place. But there may be a chance, 1 out of 1 lakh, 1 out of 10 lakh. The scattered light will not have the same intensity, same energy as it was incident on material. So what kind of change and how much change will take place? That was discovered by Sir C.V. Raman. And the name of Sir C.V. Raman, this effect is called as Raman effect. And by utilizing this phenomenon, this you can say the nature of light or nature of scattering, that is utilized in various instruments in spectroscopy, and all those equipments which are related to spectroscopy are called as Raman spectroscopy. Again, I am repeating one word. Raman effect may be in the form of vibration, that may be available in the form of rotation also. So this V0 frequency of incident light and Vm is vibrational frequency of molecule. So if it will start to vibrate, it will excite that material to get it vibrate. Raman effect is there. But how to catch the Raman effect, that is important. When now, again come on that point. Suppose the energy loss is there and the frequency of scattered light is reduced. How much? It depends. It will calculate after how much it will decrease. I will come on that point also. But if it is decreased, it means Compton effect is there. Compton effect is there. Compton effect will come only in case of decrease, not in case of increase. Because why? Why this Compton effect is there? Now you come here. Raman spectrum, first published Raman invention that was first published with the name. The topic of that paper was a new type of secondary radiation. And Sir C.V. Raman along with K.S. Krishnan. K.S. Krishnan was his student. He was doing PhD under the guidance of Sir C.V. Raman. And if you will see the life of Sir C.V. Raman, you will find a lot of inspiration from Sir C.V. Raman's life. He didn't have any bias skill also when he was working. And he was doing a private job. He was not employed in government job and he was not getting a very rich salary. And he didn't have any laboratory also that time. Whatever he was getting from his private job, he arranged a lot of things to make his experiment because computer was not there. Laboratory was not air conditioned and didn't have any appropriate laboratory also. But he had a very good thinking. He was a very gentleman. He was very disciplined person. And he had very analytical mind, scientific mind. Now, light. You can again divide light into two parts. One is wave concept, which we say that light travels in terms of electromagnetic waves. So that is called as the wave concept or classical theory of light. Other one is particle concept. That is the photonic theory of light. So here I consider this classical theory. Suppose light travels in terms of electromagnetic wave. Suppose two atoms are there which are connected by a single bond, X or Y. X and Y are two atoms. When they are connected, they formed a molecule. So when this light will incident in terms of electromagnetic wave on the surface of this molecule, there may be three types of scattering possible. One is elastic, that is again you can say the Rayleigh scattering. Two other, they will be inelastic scattering. In one, the frequency may increase, and in another, frequency may decrease. So what will happen if frequency is decreased? If frequency is decreased, means this bond which is present in between X and Y will gain energy. And these atoms or this bond, a vibration will start there like that. So atoms will also start vibrate along with this bond like this. And all the time, this vibration will not be similar. Different type of vibrations are possible. Now you come on that point. You can understand these phenomena or Raman effect with the help of this dholak and one tennis ball. Suppose one tennis ball strike on this dholak surface. There may be very, you can say too much possibilities are there that tennis ball will just go away without making any change in its energy. So E1, that will be equal to E1 again. But as the tennis ball strike this surface, and this dholak surface also start to vibrate. And when it will strike, a great sound will also come. So the incident energy of tennis ball will utilize in two ways. One part of the energy will utilize to get it vibrate, and second part of the energy that will utilize to create the sound. So just to forget about the sound effect. The incident or collision of tennis ball with this surface vibrated the surface, and a part of energy is utilized in that. So E2 or this, sorry, E2, not E, this is E3. So E3 will be less than E1. I wrongly mentioned here it E2. This is E3. This should be E3. E3 is less than E1. And where the first, which is shown by this red arrow, how this situation will create, how this situation will arise. Suppose this dholak surface that was already in vibrating condition, when this tennis ball strike on the surface, and there was a position that as the tennis ball start and this dholak surface accelerated its departure from the surface. So what will happen? The tennis ball will go away with higher intensity, higher energy. Then it was strike or make a collision with the surface. So in that situation, E2 will be greater than E1. So in both these situations, E2 and E3, if this tennis ball you can replace by light and dholak surface you can replace by a molecule, then this effect is called as the Raman effect. Now, you can see here these things. Stokes, Raman, Rayleigh, anti-Stokes Raman. Is nu zero. Nu zero, again you can say this is the frequency when the light ray that strikes on surface, that will strike the top position which you are seeing, that is you can say the actual point where the collision will take place, and then it will go away from that surface. So this nu zero, that will remain unchanged, and that why it is the Rayleigh scattering situation. If nu zero minus nu m means vibrations has been generated, and the resultant frequency, that will be nu zero minus nu m. So that is called as this will be a situation. So this is called as the Stokes line or Stokes Raman effect. Now there will be another situation where the surface is already in slightly higher energy position, or in vibrational mode, or whatever it is, or in rotational mode. Then what will happen? The energy transfer will be that will be towards the light ray, and that can be represented by nu zero plus Vm, and it is represented by anti-Stokes line, or it is called as the anti-Stokes Raman effect.
So may I ask something, sir?
Pardon?
So may I ask a question, sir?
So
in the previous slide, the anti-stroke spectrum, it was having an energy greater than V0. Then its peak should be higher.
Please, you see this slide. Then you will get more clarity. Here we have a bottom line where I have mentioned 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are, you can say, the bibrational energy states. One that has higher energy, that is bibrational energy state, which has higher energy than 0. 2 has higher than 1, 3 has higher than 2, and 4 has higher than 3. Suppose light ray strike on surface, and then whatever excitement or scattering that is started from that surface, and that will go up to a high energy state, which is called as the virtual energy state. And then again it will come to the same position at 0 level. It is called as the Rayleigh scattering. Now you come at Stokes-Raman scattering. It is starting from 0. It will go up to virtual energy state, but when it is coming back, it is not come up to 0. Stop at 0. So this will be represented by Stokes-Raman scattering. Now come on third situation, where the scattering not starting from 0. It is starting from slightly higher state, or you can say the one state higher than the normal one. It is going up to one state higher than the normal one, virtual energy state, second virtual energy state. When it is coming back, but it came back to 0. So it is represented by anti-Stokes-Raman scattering. Now you can ask your question.
So I was asking that the anti-Stokes-Raman scattering light was absorbing more than the relay scattering light. It was V0 and it was V0 plus Vm. Hence, its peak should be higher than that of that.
No. That is not. That is not basically showing the peak. That is showing the absorption. That is not showing the intensity level. That is showing absorption. How much energy is absorbed. Less energy will absorb, then it will go. It will show the anti-Stokes line. When because it is going in but high is a level higher virtual energy state. This you forget about the previous slide. You consider you concentrate on this slide. Your answer is here. Now you can see here it again. So you will get more clarity. If you are seeing at bottom, if there is slight change in its energy, where complete elastic scattering is there, complete elastic behavior is there, but it is not going up to the virtual levels, it is considered as IR absorption. But if this scattering, that is very considerable scattering, it is going 1, 2, 3, 4 and above that, means up to very high level, which is represented by virtual level, and it is coming, it is reaching again on the same position, then it is called as the May-Rayleigh scattering. May was another scientist which also gave the same concept. So that was renamed as Rayleigh-May scattering. Now the same thing is represented here with blue and red, green and red, and green and blue line, which I have mentioned in the previous slide. Now, how is it? What is the reason behind it? How this happening during this phenomena? Involves polarizability. Basically, this is happening due to polarizability, and which is represented by alpha, and it is called as the induced dipole also. Polarizability and induced dipole are same thing. The electric field of molecule oscillate at frequency of incident wave, which emits the EM radiation. If induced dipole is constant, scattering will be elastic. That is called as the Rayleigh-Meyer scattering. If induced dipole is not constant, if induced dipole is not constant, that is inelastic, then that scattering is Raman scattering. In the Raman spectra, the information about vibrations of molecule is obtained in visible part of the spectrum as the difference from the energy of the visible laser excitation that is present here. Raman spectra is complementary to IR spectra, but the selection rules are different. For IR activity requires change in permanent dipole moment. Because next lecture I will take on FTIR. So that is the IR's absorption, IR phenomenon. So this sentence is very much important to understand both this Raman effect as well as the IR absorption. Raman spectra is complement to IR spectra, but the selection rules are different. For IR activity requires change in permanent dipole moment. But for Raman effect, that is not permanent change in on dipole moment. That is a temporary change in dipole moment or temporary change in polarizability. I'm skipping these things. Here, you come on here, this point. Polarizability or dipole. If the tendency of a material or matter when subjected to an electric field to acquire an electric dipole moment in proportion to that applied field, it is a property of all matter in a much as matter is made up of elementary particles which have an electric charge, namely protons and electrons. So suppose you just consider two atoms. Here, I have taken the example of hydrogen molecule. So two H atoms are there. Now we are seeing these two electrons. If you will place this molecule in an electric field, and electric field has a direction that generally has a north to south. So I have mentioned here, when this molecule will place there, what will happen? Due to the presence of the south pole, and electrons have the negative charge, the south pole will repel these electrons. This repelling is started from the south pole, and north pole has plus charge. So that will attract those electrons. So these electrons will shift from its middle position towards north pole. Due to this shifting, what will happen? A slightly plus charge that will generate towards south pole, and a slightly negative charge will exert on north pole due to the shifting of these electrons. But consider or mind it that due to this shifting, these electrons are not coming out from the molecule. They will not come out. This is a slight shifting, very slight shifting. Now, when the direction of electric field that is parallel to bond axis, so what is happening? This shifting is maximum. Means when the direction of electric field that will remain parallel to the bond axis or parallel to the molecular chain axis, maximum polarization will take place. Maximum polarization will take place. Now, just you imagine that we have rotated this molecule at 90 degrees. Now, the direction of bond axis, which is generally called as Z-axis also. The direction of bond axis, which is perpendicular to the electric field direction. E field, electric field is perpendicular to bond axis. Now, you can see there is a shift, but this shift is minimum. Shift is minimum. So now you can see the electrons which are present there, they have their electron cloud. But what will be the shape of that electron cloud? That can be represented by this ellipsoid. That will gain a shape of ellipse. That's why it is called as the polarization ellipse, or different people has called it with different names. But conceptually, it will gain a shape of electron. Now, there is another question. Ellipse has a minor axis and major axis. Where it will get minor axis and where it will get major axis. Major axis, which is showing that electron shift takes place too much, means electron will repel by south pole having negative charge, electron will attract by north pole having negative charge, electron will not come out of bond on north pole, electron will not shift on north pole, they will just shift, just make a little shift towards the pole. So electron displacement will not take place, electron shift will take place. And suppose in perpendicular side, the minor axis will remain there because small shift is there. So in this way, you can just represent the electron cloud. Now you come on, we can take two examples. One is benzene, another is water molecule. So where the polarizability is easy and where the polarizability is difficult. Now you can take these two examples. You will see in case of benzene, you will find the p orbitals are there or pi bonds are there. But in case of H2O, sigma bond. So in case of sigma bond, electron shifting, electrons, this, shifting, that will be little bit difficult in comparison of pi bond. That's why when you will compare these two, benzene with water, you will find benzene is a soft molecule, water is a hard molecule comparatively. When I'm saying water is hard molecule, you can't compare water with steel or wood or like that. Water is harder in comparison of benzene because the delocalized situation or delocalized electrons will become easily available in case of benzene, which will not possible in case of water molecule. Here you can see the polarizability, how the polarization will take place and what will be the direction of electric field. So as you are seeing, as the direction of electric field that is parallel to the bond axis, the size of this ellipsoid, that will become like that. And when the intensity of electric field, that will reduce, and as the direction will change, the size of ellipse, that will convert towards or change towards a circle. When it will become like a circle, in case of a circle, what happens? Radius remains same at all positions. So you will not get very high polarizability. You will get polarizability of a molecule when the intensity of electric field which you have applied, that is high and that is parallel to the bond axis. Now in first picture where you are seeing the 3D view of polarizability, you can see it again. We have X, Y, and Z axis. So as I have already mentioned, the bond axis, the direction of bonds, that is represented by Z axis. So you can see this phenomena pictorially and lively also. Now you come on this instrument. Krish, when now you come on equipment, this is represented by these four major components. One is a radiation source, which is essential for this Raman spectroscopy. Second one is the sample, and third one is wave number selector. Because when your incident light, when your laser light that will reach on the sample, what will happen? Inelastic scattering will take place. When inelastic scattering will take place, what will happen in the molecule? Either the vibration will start or the rotation will start. So this vibration or rotation, that will gain a particular level of energy. So either this energy will remain in that will be higher than the incident light, or that may be lower than incident light. When the Compton effect is there, the scattering light will have lower energy than incident light. So that will be detected by the detector. Now, FT Raman spectroscopy, you can combine the FTIR with Raman spectroscopy also. So that will enhance the analytical potential of this Raman spectroscopy. Fourier transform Raman spectroscopy. When we called as the FTIR, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. Here we are talking about inelastic collision of light ray on molecular surface. Okay, so when we talk about FT Raman spectroscopy, it means we are working in laser source which has near infrared wavelength or frequency. So sample is there, stationary mirror is there, beam splitter is there, source is there. So suppose source will emit the light and light will come up to the sample, and then collision will take place, and the scattered light that will come to a mirror, then the mirror will reflect it, then there will be a moving mirror. So the purpose of moving mirror is to convert that light ray into two parts, parallel axis with and perpendicular, and both components will detect by the detector, and the comparison will take place, and you will get the absorption part exactly, how much light was absorbed by that sample at that particular position. So now I think you have understand the difference between IR and Raman. This is the pictorial view of Raman spectroscopy or Raman spectrophotometer. Which kind of Raman spectrophotometer are available in the market, and what is the utility of these Raman spectrophotometers? You will see the Raman spectrophotometer, laser light source is there, but there may be a filter. So to get only the monochromatic light from that source, when this light will come a macro beam mirror, a particular component of that light that will reflect from that mirror, and that will come to the sample. And then microscopic lens will be there, and then another component which is directly coming from the laser source up to the beam splitter. The notch filter will be there, which will filter the another means perpendicular component will filter out, and then it will reach up to the adjustable entrance slit, where there will be another mirror which is transferring or reflecting the component which is coming to the spectrograph grating to the detector, and detector will detect the intensity of that light which is reaching up to that detector. So this is the instrumentation part. But what is the theory behind it? What is happening there? These detectors are detecting Stokes line, anti-Stokes line, or the intensity of Stokes line and anti-Stokes lines. Now, what is the application? What is the utility of these lines or these intensity which we are recording or detecting? Because different molecules have different type of bonds there, and these bonds have different energy. when the incident light will come on that bond, the vibration will start there, because now we have filtered out the component of the laser light which will create Rayleigh scattering, because we are not interested here in Rayleigh scattering. So Rayleigh scattering possibility is eliminated. Then which light will come here? Only that part of that laser will come to the sample which will generate Raman effect. If light is coming there, if collision is there, but Raman effect is not there, then what is the utility of that equipment? So we are interested in Raman effect because Raman effect is used to identify the kind of bond, what kind of bond is present there, how much polarizability is there, and bond will identify with the help of polarizability, how much polarizability is there. So polarizability is very important phenomena in case of Raman spectroscopy. If you want to understand the Raman spectroscopy, you have to understand the concept of polarizability first. So I hope that every student who are present here, they understand the concept of collision, they understand the concept of elastic scattering, inelastic scattering, and polarizability. If you have understand these 2-3 phenomena, it means your purpose is clear, your target to attend this lecture that has been reached. Now, one point I want to clarify here. Basically, I want to say that how much type of vibrations are possible. If your molecule is linear, like CO2 or H2O, 3 atoms are there. So the formula is 3m minus 5. 3m minus 5 for linear molecules. Note down, please note down it. You may get question also. 3m minus 5 for linear molecule. How much type of vibrations will possible there when a light ray will make inelastic collision with that material? सर 5-10 मिनट में क्लास खत्म कर रहा हूँ, मैं अभी मिलाता हूँ. So 3m minus 5, you note down number of these vibrations, means type of vibrations. 3m minus 5. So 3m is number of atoms. So 3 atoms are there. 3 into 3, 9 minus 5. It means how much type of vibrations are possible in case of CO2?
4.
4, exact. And sir, 4 vibrations. So yes.
Sir, can you please tell us the use of this notch filter?
Yes, basically when 2 type of light ray is coming there. This one here you can see, you are seeing this cursor?
Yes, sir. Visible.
This is not filter basically. Okay, this is combining both these light ray which are coming. One light ray is coming directly from laser source. Another light is coming from sample, with after making collision with sample surface. Notch filter will split both these components, and that will filter out the scattering or component which belongs to Rayleigh scattering. Clear?
सर ओनली रिले स्कैटरिंग जो करेगा उसको अलाउ करेगा आगे जाने के लिए.
Rayleigh scattering को नहीं अलाउ करेंगे, जो रमन इफेक्ट देगा उसी को अलाउ करेंगे.
That light ray will be passed.
Yes.
which allowed Raman effect.
Raman effect. Okay. Now I was saying another point. How much type of vibrations will possible in case of non-linear molecules? Non-linear, like CH4. How much type of molecule vibrations will possible? 3m minus 6. 3m minus 6. Are you getting the point?
So pardon?
3m minus 6 for non-linear.
Yes, sir.
Here, this is another arrangement or way to represent the FT Raman spectrophotometer. And why I'm showing these pictures here, not in FTIR, because if you will see the conceptual picture of FTIR, you will find the similar type of arrangement in case of FTIR also. Only difference is there, IR spectrum will utilize for that one, and we are not utilizing the IR spectrum. We are utilizing the laser light, which has higher energy than that IR spectrum. So you can start from light source. The light source is here, laser with fine filter. You are starting, means generating the light, which is reflected by this mirror. This lens is there to compress, or you can say the focus those light, and then it is reaching on sample. So there may be the collision will take place. Then after making this collision, the scattering will take place from sample. So whatever scattering will take place, the scattered light will again change its direction by using these mirrors. Then it will come up to the beam splitter. So beam splitter will split the light along the axis and perpendicular to the axis. So it will break in two components, as you are seeing here also. Then the fixed mirror that will reflect it as it is. And then with the help of another mirror, it will goes up to dielectric filter. Dielectric filter, then it will again come up to the special filters, which will do the same function as I have discussed in previous slide by notch filters. Then it will reach up to the detector, which has either the liquid nitrogen systems to cool that portion, because when this laser light will reach up to that position, so heat will also generate. So to keep safe the detector, liquid nitrogen is used to make it cool. So in this way, that was the concept of Raman spectroscopy, which was very essential for you. But if you will see your syllabus, in your syllabus, it is just mentioned as a topic. But you understand, I understand the utility of this Raman effect and Raman spectroscopy. So if you will visit some high quality laboratories, you will find Raman spectrophotometers there, particularly in good quality chemistry labs. Because if you will see the utility of Raman spectroscopy, then it is found it is very much useful for pharma industry. For textile industry, it is used, but rarely, because we have other equipments also, and we solve our problems maximum times by other UV spectrophotometer on this IR spectrophotometer. If this Fourier transform facility is there, then it is called as Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, FTIR. But Raman effect is there. Raman effect is utility, and Raman effect is the truth. As light is truth of universe, Raman effect is also the truth of universe. So you can say this is hardcore physics, solid the optics. So we have to understand about the Raman effect also. And now you can understand the utility of Raman effect. Suppose you color a fiber by natural dye or by some any other material, you don't know about the structure. If you will apply the dye, either the direct dye or azo dye or this whatever reactive dye, you know the structure, you know the chemistry of that dye, because that dye has been supplied by a dye manufacturer. but you don't know anything about the natural color, natural dye. What is present inside that color? What is the chemistry of that material? In that case, we require more than one analytical techniques. Suppose FTIR, you got a spectra, you got analytical peak, fingerprints, so many things. But is it confirmed? To confirm it, we require more than one analytical techniques. Okay, somebody is has arranged class through this Zoom, so I'm binding here because somebody
Sir,
is
one question is there, sir.
log in here.
Sir, one question is there, sir.
You can ask your question in next class because
Okay, sir.
otherwise
Okay.
this connection will break immediately.
Okay, sir.